Sheep, do you feel that there's any hero on the side of Fnatic that T1 can't really deal with, especially now picking the Quap up?
Think they struggle a little bit to deal with Wraith King. I don't feel like it's answered so much. I think the Mirana pick was less about, oh yeah, we're gonna like handle Wraith King, and more like we're gonna give this Mirana a really great game that's enabled really hard by Shadow Demon and Kunkka. It's the sort of Mirana that can roam to any lane and there's someone like setting up kills. Which I like a lot, although this Kunkka looks now more like he's gonna go to the safe lane, so it's kind of I don't think it's a mid Kunkka for setup kills. But yeah, they look like T1 look more like a team right now that's gonna run around getting pickoffs and trying to make plays and moves. I just struggle to see how they deal with a Wraith King late game because they have so much burst damage and not a lot of super sustain.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Oh, go ahead, Nat. Sorry.
I was just going to ask the exact same question, but this time if Fnatic had struggles dealing with anyone on T1. But I'll let you have your 2 cents on the first question, and then I'll ask you that question, GoDz.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I think for me, the one thing with T1 and what Shippo's saying is, their draft I think is really solid, but that's not normally their playstyle. Normally they're actually the ones sitting back more passively farming it up. So it's kind of curious to see them go a different direction with this kind of Kunkka Quap as their 2 cores.
Okay, and then this is like opened up a can of worms for so many questions then. Fnatic, is this a draft that fits into their playstyle? And if so, what is that last hero they're looking to pick up that could really sort of tie it off, GoDz?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were probably expecting T1 to go more of the greedy route because that's what they always do. A typical T1 game is 45 minutes plus. They have, one of the longer average game times when it comes to the SEA teams. And that's why they went down the Wraith King path. They're like, okay, we're going to have time to get this guy online. They don't have a counter for him. And I think for Fnatic, the key here is to get something that's not too greedy because T1 may be running at you looking to constantly find pickoffs. So they need to have some kind of answer for that, which to me comes in the form of either some kind of tanky hero, which is what T1's banning out, the Timber, the Doom, or something that just has a lot of like early game, mid game strength that's going to come online fast and not need a lot of items.
Oh, can I do my prediction?
Yep.
Mars! Mars!
Okay. I like it.
Go on! Jeff played Mars like the most of any hero in the DPC season, and it's somehow still here in the last pick. It's great laner with Weaver and Grimstroke, lots of kill potential there. Like, Kunkka as a safe laner is kind of happy laning into Mars, but it's still a solid hero, right? It goes even in pretty much every lane. You just buy a bit more regen to like try and out-sustain the chip damage, and then you're always providing an arena. What the heck? This is Mars, this is a Brew!
I was going to say something complete left field. You're going to see a Brew instead. So what do you feel about that one, Sheep? It's not the Mars prediction.
He's played it before. It's not entirely unseen. I actually think his Brew has been amazing in the past. I remember he got picked into like a bunch of summon plus illusion heroes or something, or like buffing heroes. I think we saw him play against like a Darkseer or something, and every fight was just purge, control the fight. Best Brewmaster I've ever seen in my life. Jabs owns on Brewmaster. He's really great.
Yeah,
he really
They
does.
were 2-0 on this hero. It's I think very much a comfort pick. He played it even back when he used to be like a mid laner and then support. He would play support Brewmaster. So he's like one of those players that loves these micro heroes.
It is so hard for T1 to play into their lineup, though, I feel. Who are you really going on? Especially Brewmaster, who likes to buy stuff like Eon Disc, so he survives the burst. Like, if you get an X Marks, like, into Arrow, whatever, if he has an Eon Disc, he's gonna get his ult off, right? You can't stop the bear. And then you have all these Brewlings running around that you can't really kill. Wraith King has 2 lives. Weaver's hard to catch. Void Spirit's hard to catch. Like, it's so hard to catch and kill anyone on Fnatic's lineup. And I don't think Lifestealer solves that issue.
I was just about to ask that. I was going to say T1 think Lifestealer could potentially be the final thing that ties all together, but you're not a big fan there, Sheep.
I mean, it's rough, right? You have all these heroes with kind of like a lot of mobility and ability to live, and they have no lockdown. They have barely any stuns, actually. BKBs kind of make Fnatic's game kind of easy, I feel like.
Well,
And then,
before we...
Yeah.
No, you go, GoDz.
No, I was going to say, and then like to me, the other thing is now they've gone down this much greedier path. This offlane, Kunkka, it's like, oh, it's C1, they get a greedy offlaner, but then at the same time, I don't think they've answered this Wraith King very well.
It might be a style that we're used to, but before we jump into this game number 1, I'm going to ask predictions not only for this game, but for this series, because I didn't get a chance to before the draft to ask you guys. So, GoDz, I'm going to start with you. Who's winning this game? What's this series going to?
I think as far as this game goes, I will give the edge to Fnatic. I think Fnatic's going to win the series 2-1. So that would be my prediction.
And Sheep?
Ooh, I'm gonna be spicy. I'm gonna say Fnatic's gonna 2-0. But the more I think about the lifestealer, I do like that it just lives. I think the Fnatic actually also don't have a way to really kill him. They need to get like silence from Grimstroke onto lifestealer and then capitalize on that and kill him before he can like kill it. So I think lifestealer is kind of a strong last pick for survivability and ability to keep fighting. It is the sustained damage we talked about them lacking, so I like that.
Well, I'm liking the look of Fnatic's lineup, but I'm hoping either way this is going to be a close game. I'm going to head off, and I'm going to leave you guys to jump into game number 1.
All right. Thank you, Nat. And hi, Sheepo. We get to cast again.
Hey.
I had the honor of doing so once during the league phase, and I'm glad to get to do it again. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. Same. I don't know how to cast. I'll do my best. I sat on the panel for so long.
Yeah. I like how you showed up today and you're like, I'll just wing it. That's what being Dota talent is all about. Every now and then you just got to kind of BS your way through some stuff. And, we're going to have to get ourselves right into a 5v5 smoke initiation. It's going to be T1 who get the initial jump, but the Inks will retaliate from jabs on the Brewmaster. Not going to connect it. Both teams just kind of looking to disengage, but the Torrent from Cuckoo going to catch 2. Armel forced to try and get himself out of there with a Dissimulate. And it looks like no casualties early on. A lot of spells being thrown. Warning shots. We're safe for now, Sheepo.
This is pathetic. Not a single bit of blood. I really like the moves though. I think T1 have really strong level 1 when you do disruption into arrow. Of course, it's basically like a full range stun. Should result in murder. Did not result in murder, but what can you do?
Yeah, seriously. You see, disruption arrow with a torrent. They even got level 1 torrent, and couldn't find the initial kill. Can DJ win the rune battle? You betcha. Snipes in front of Zephyr, so Fnatic get 3 out of 4 runes.
That's a sign they win the game.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever lost a game after getting 3 runes at level 1?
I don't think so. Nahaz has brought in some stats, and he's told me that no, it's never happened. So if that's wrong, you can blame Nahaz.
Okay, I blame Nahaz.
What do you mean? You're saying it's wrong?
No, I'm saying I will blame.
Okay.
I'm saying you're right. Yeah. Okay, I actually don't know how Kunkka offlane pairs up against Wraith King. Because Kunkka's so obnoxious in the side lane just because he keeps kind of chipping at you with Tidebringer. He's usually good against offlaners for that reason. Like, people have been putting him safe lane because you have heroes like Mars that are usually so hard to kill and deal with, and he actually does just like get through your health pool. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to kind of flex that same strength against like a Wraith King Grimstroke lane, or if he's going to struggle, because they do have kill threat in this lane. They are scary. You have a Wraith King that goes in with stun Inkswell, like that's a lot. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Already at level 1, they were like bullying this Mirana before she gets the leap up, so they've got to be a little bit careful of how this top lane goes. For now, they're just chilling. They're shooting arrows at range creeps, just trying to get their level 2 as safely as possible. Taking a peek some other lanes. Quap versus Void Spirit. Expecting anything spicy to happen here?
Maybe. It's kind of sad that your Mirana doesn't have any setup from Quap to kill. Because usually, I know the C teams, especially these 2 teams, have been loving Lion. It got banned in first phase. And when you're able to bring like a Lion mid, say, you can get so many kills with it. But I don't think T1 has that much opportunity. They'd have to bring Shadow Demon and Mirana. So we could potentially see like a lot of fighting there in the later runes stages, like minute 6.
Yeah. Some double support rotations.
Yeah, I guess Fnatic also have the opportunity where they could bring DJ mid with Weaver and dive the Quap, because Weaver's really good at that. I can't count the amount of games we watched during DPC where Weaver would just come mid and just be diving towards tier 2 towers to kill the enemy mid.
Well, we'll see a bit later on whether some of those early support rotations happens. Do you feel like, I mean, looking at like the big picture in the two drafts, do you think it's more important for either team that this early game and lane stage goes well, or is it, you know, kind of equally important?
I'm actually not sure because when I look at the lanes this game, I don't see one that absolutely destroys the other. You know, I feel like everyone farms. Like Shadow Demon Lifestealer, to me, it doesn't kill Brewmaster. Same way I don't see Kunkka and Mirana really killing Wraith King. I mean, it could happen. But at some point, these carries are just... Or at least Wraith King, especially, can just be like, alright, I'm gonna go jungle now. See ya.
Yeah.
And just leave. And so his game doesn't end if the lane becomes difficult.
I don't know what the stats on are, but I feel like when there's a Weaver lane, I feel like First Blood either happens there because of the Weaver or the Weaver oversteps. Like, more often than happens in other lanes. Like, I think where First Blood's going to happen, I see a Weaver, I'm like, it's happening in that lane. Like, the Weaver is going to be involved one way or another.
He'll just Shikuchi in and then just be right next to the enemies as he comes out of Invis. Like, huh, I have made a mistake.
Yeah.
Ouch! So
Luckily, it's a Shadow Demon Lifestealer, so not quite the scariest kill lane.
Yeah, I think there's like a little bit of threat there if... I don't know what Waimon intends on maxing, because some of the Shadow Demons we watched, they went maxing Disruption. But if you go up on Shadow Poison, that does cause a lot of threat for Brewmaster. He's not the fastest hero, right? It's kind of easy to bully him out with the stacks.
Nicely done by Whitemon to keep Gambi's salve alive, and yeah, bottom lane, just Weaver doing pesky Weaver things for now, trying to maintain that sentry advantage and get the constant harass in, snipe some couriers here and there, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, they're keeping both the camps blocked as well. One is just blocked by... The small camp's blocked by Sentry on Fnatic, and the other one they were just body blocking. This way there's just like no shenanigans. They know that there's like very little kill threat.
Yep. DJ's committed
So
for this one.
Japanese
He's going for this kill, but may perhaps regret this one. The one poison stack isn't going to be enough. The second poison clips him, but it's not enough damage, as the dust was even committed on that one as well. So Whitemon used a lot of mana plus a dust and didn't get the kill.
That's rough. It feels bad. Because I like the idea of when DJ is a lower level to like use Disruption when he uses Shikuchi, and then you kind of catch him and keep him there. You know, the Shikuchi ends, and then it's 8 seconds of him just being able to walk. But like the timing is off, Lifestealer can't connect, like he's not even ranged, he doesn't have any ranged spells, he has absolutely no way to really do anything with his Shadow Demon in lane unless he's already near, and he doesn't have like boots either, so it's just kind of really awkward for him to play this lane.
And they can't bring items out. This Weaver with the ward behind tower, just one Gemini attack off and your courier's dead, so this is perhaps one of the more annoying parts about the Weaver lane, is that ability to basically prevent regen from coming out, items from coming out, so we'll see if they manage to find an answer for DJ's Weaver. But, you know, so far the lane's going fine. Lifesteal's farming up just fine. T1 aren't losing any of these lanes by any means just yet.
Yeah, exactly. This is the nice thing about Lifestealer. He's able to help himself. Even if he doesn't have regen coming out, right, he's got 2 points in Feast. He's just lifestealing off creeps. He's gonna sustain. It's okay.
DJ.
And he's got Helm now, so he's completely fine.
Deciding not to go for the courier. Just doesn't want to put his life at risk there, as he's going to instead go for some harass down here. Again, these Weaver lanes always feels like that's where you're going to keep an eye on for these First Bloods, but so far they're doing a good job of not giving any openings for DJ to get those kills, and DJ himself doing a good job of not overextending. So taking a peek at some other lanes. Mid lane, Queen of Pain, 27-12, doing pretty damn nicely here, and about to hit level 6, so I mean, you mentioned the 6-minute rotations. Do you think that's where we're going to see some of these supports stop making their move?
I think I'd like to. I feel like Kunkka is sturdy enough to sit top while the supports move. As well, the lane is pushing in, which is basically perfect for Cuckoo. When the creeps are just outside his tower, there's pretty much no way he should be able to die. Zephyr's already rotating over to the mid lane, which makes sense. I was enjoying the parallel between Raven and Gabby. They both just have like multiple gauntlets and a helm of Iron Will.
Yeah.
The same items.
This is the classic carry starting items now, like triple gauntlet, quelling blade.
I am a strength carry. I build armlet. What is an offlane Kunkka build actually? what I'm curious to see. He's got double bracer, which is kind of standard for most strength offlaners. But I was wondering if he'd still go like an armlet.
Is there a build you
Zephyr
think
could be
is
fine.
going to make the most sense for him this game, as far as whether it's countering an enemy hero or just making his own game go well?
It would be good for him to buy a halberd.
Hold that thought. Mistimed arrow. Disruption was looking to set it up and said they're going to look to turn this one onto Whitemon. Potential first blood. Is it coming? No, they need one more right click or some damage from a Shikuchi. DJ goes fishing, but doesn't find Whitemon, and he's being dusted up, so he needs to be careful. Gets caught up by Zephyr. The double Starstorm's going to do some good damage here now. Whitemon, not needed. It's Zephyr with the arrow who gets the first blood onto DJ's Weaver.
Weaver does it again!
Yeah. Of course it's the Weaver. I mean, he was either going to get the kill on Whitemon or die himself there, and, well, unfortunately, it did not go his way.
What can you do? I like the idea from Zephyr, because he was heading mid to make the plays, expecting other people to come there or for mid to need his help, but then he kind of realized that no one was really moving from bot, so he could go make a play there. It didn't work out. Oh no, it did work out, sorry. Luckily.
Yeah.
But it was good. Smart move to TP down there. And now he's just gonna like farm his way back to mid. Hopefully in time for the 8-minute runes, they'll be set up.
Armel does hit level 7. He's almost a full level behind Carl's Queen of Pain. Quop just doing a better job, you know, kind of bullying him out of the lane and farming some of those neutral camps, but not the end of the world. Do you see Armel looking to make some moves, or is it more just sit mid and wait for your supports to come to you?
I definitely think both these heroes play around runes. You don't want to try and make a move without a rune and have it go badly, and then your opposing mid laner is just farming the entire time. Because you still both need items, right?
Looking for a disruption arrow combo in the mid lane. Whitemon's found the disruption. This time around, the arrow will be timed. And Zhao goes down to the scream. Just the support kill. They were looking for Armel, I feel, and luckily for Fnatic, they tanked the gank with the support.
They could stay mid and just try again. Because at least it forces Armel off the lane.
They got Gabby, but he's just going to rage TP out. Level 1 rage, but that's enough to not get caught by a Cyclone or a Boulder Toss. So instead, Fnatic going to maybe pressure this tower, but they've got no Primal Split. Once this ends, they could be in some trouble here. Rotation coming down, smoked up T1. Both supports a smoke for this, and they're looking to punish. Can they catch Fnatic with a TP in from the Queen of Pain? This could be a bad situation for them to be in. DJ may just have to Shikuchi his way out of there. Jabs does manage to not get hit by the arrow. He's going to go for the TP out. The Sonic Wave. The damage is not enough. He survived. Oh, poorly executed gank from T1.
That is so sad. I mean, he just used the Drunken Brawler, and the extra move speed just helped him scooch out of the way, the arrow. Ooh. Oh, that's miserable. But what a heads up play to just instantly TP. Like, they actually just have no control. And he was so tanky. Does he have he has bracers? No, he just has Soul Ring and Treads. And he's so tanky. 1,300 health. Gosh, that feels really bad. You committed like a smoke rotation. You committed your Quops to TP. Like so many resources were taken down there to do that. The most you get really is like that they aren't pushing the tower anymore. But I don't know if you're happy.
This time around, they hit the combo. Well, they've not been perfect with the disruption arrow, but they've been decent enough to get a couple of kills with it. Although they missed 1 or 2 as well. So. The really frustrating thing for T1 is it felt tactically like they were outplaying Fnatic there. Like, the Jabs waste his Primal Split thinking he can kill the Life Stealer, and then they have the perfect smoke gank to punish him going for that tower. They just slightly misexecute, but it's still T1 with a 3-0 kill lead, but unfortunately, they're not really getting like a gold lead out of this one. They're still seeing Wraith King, you know, free farm away up top, so they've still not really addressed this Wraith King at all.
What I will give them props to is Cuckoo is going for an Orchid, which I like the look of quite a lot, because I was thinking in my head, oh yeah, I guess like standard items you can be useful with, like Halberd or something. Maybe you go Armlet and just try and be a body on the map that takes up space, like you take the Wraith King's jungle or something. I think the Orchid is going to let him do way more. He's going to be able to kill all these annoying supports. Brewmaster, of course, doesn't want to buy a defensive item this early into the game. So an Orchid allows him to kill that, and he's free farming. Wraith King's free farming, sure, but so is Cuckoo. He's second on the net worth lead.
Such a T1 unique thing about them is that often Cuckoo gets this farm priority, and it can come at the cost of their carry. We see Gabby not keeping up with the Wraith King, a full 1,000 gold behind him with some pressure to his lane. But yeah, it's Cuckoo who's going to maybe get a really fast Orchid for them. So this is something that they can cause a lot of problems with if they get this at a very fast time. Cuckoo not really being rotated on at all. He's just getting a complete free farm up top.
Yeah, I don't think they have any deep wards down on T1 side, but Wraith King's moved to the jungle now. It would have been nice for them to kind of take advantage of the cart timing top to pressure that tower. Maybe they're worried about the ability of Fnatic to punish them with like TP responses. But yeah, I've seen this trend now in games where the carries stay in their lane for as long as they can. Like Gabby is just not moving. I remember for a while everyone the new big thing was like, oh my god, he's TP'd to his off lane and he's just like harassing the enemy carry or something, like, you know, getting them out of their lane. But I feel like
Gabby,
that is not like as prominent anymore.
I was about to say he may wish he would have left, but he sees the second the smoke pops, he rage TPs away, recognizing that trouble is headed his way. You know, that's probably why he's not free farming, is because every time they come his way, he has to do this rage TP out, but it is wasting Fnatic's time.
Yeah, it's nice to keep them there because you keep your map like, you know, more open for yourself for so long by keeping the safe lane tower alive. Obviously, like the standard way of playing Dota is you take the safe lane tower, then you take the mid tower. Oh, they're making a move.
Oh, they've got the Brewmaster. They need to burst him before he pops that Primal Split. Have they got the damage with the Torrent and the Ghost Ship? I believe they do. Sonic Wave to make sure of it. They knew this time around Jabs had a Primal Split, so they had to try and burst him fast, and they did just that, but they lose the tower, kill the Brewmaster, and Fnatic say, okay, we'll just back off. We'll pressure mid with some skeletons. They'll farm up top with DJ's Weaver, so it's not... I mean, it's a nice kill, but it feels like they need to get a little bit more on the T1 side.
Yeah, they're just they're playing for item timings right now. They're just gonna get this Orchid on Kanka, then we'll probably see them smoke up and try and do something more. Queen is probably just chilling. She want to get her Sanj and Kaya to make her really tanky. She don't want to like force a fight and die. You can die to Fnatic if you overextend. There's gonna be the split. If you jump in too fast, there's gonna be Phantom's Embrace from Grimstroke. He has 2 points in it. Like he is trying to be annoying with it. It's chill. They're just chilling.
It's very chill. We're seeing a pretty passive game here. Do you think, I mean, as far as overall game plan, it's Fnatic with the gold lead. I mean, it's very negligible because, as you mentioned, these item timings are coming up, particularly the Orchid. But do you think this kind of slower pace is favoring either team's overall strategy?
I think they both benefit. I think this game will come down a lot to execution. Or Zhao.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna let me live, and they look to turn this one with the Primal Split. Gabby, this time around, no Rage TP out, and that's a core going down. So the first kill Fnatic find is a pretty big one.
He got way too big for his boots there. He's like, yeah, I'm standing in the middle of like 2 to 3 heroes. I'm just gonna start trying to kill this Grimstroke with no regard for his life.
Oh. And when you've got this slow-paced game, we've seen Fnatic, you know, they'll throw a Primal Split out just for a single kill that's not like an objective or a team fight. They have no interest in team fighting right now. They're just farming up on Raven. Raven just, you know, he's doing Raven things. He's hidden up the jungle. He's going to go straight into that Death Slater, and we'll see if T1 can do a good job punishing this one. They've found Jabs now in their own jungle. Without a Primal Split, I'm not sure they've got a good way to keep Jabs alive, and Zhao is just like, I'm bailing. They'll give up one to retreat and farm other parts of the map.
Yeah, I like that Gabby's now moved to the top side of the map. It was nice of him to sit bot for as long as he could to protect his tower and such. But I think now you put him up there, if he just plays defensively with his rage, at some point you can just connect heroes up there and start to pressure the tower a little bit more. I mean, as long as he doesn't get cocky and try and kill a Grimstroke, I feel like no one should be able to kill him for a long time. They don't have Orchids. They don't have instant stuns. The only thing that could possibly catch him is like a Phantom's Embrace when he isn't expecting it.
Yeah. Well, it seems like playing that top lane is working a bit better for him. And, you know, like you kind of mentioned, getting a bit too big for his britches after the, you know, the previous 2 ganks he just rage TP'd out. So perhaps he's like, okay, let's go on the aggressive for once. But learning his lesson. As another kill going to go the way of T1. This time in the mid lane, again, it's Jabs. He's the one who's been kind of, unfortunately, forced to farm some of the more dangerous parts of the map and gets found out by the Kunkka Orchid. So that's an item that's going to cause Fnatic some issues this game if they're not careful. Armel's Void Spirit also very susceptible to it until he gets some kind of way to dispel it. So we'll see how Fnatic respond to this and if T1 can kind of start to take over this game now that this Orchid has come up.
Dude, it's so awesome. It's actually so good. Look at all the Fnatic's heroes. They don't want to itemize against it.
Yeah.
Void Spirit's going Kaya Sanj. Brew's already on his way to an Axe. He's not going to be like, oh, like, I guess I'll just switch to a Yules or something. Like, you don't want to do that. That makes you feel terrible. Like, he really wants this Axe. This Orchid is just, like, frightening as long as T1 gets the jump.
Yeah. And unlike T1, like, for T1, if they were facing this, they have a disruption save. But this time around, Fnatic will get the jump in the mid lane, but there's a disruption save. You go in a hero, disruption is there, but he does get caught by the pull as he comes out, but the Queen of Pain gets bailed out, and now the Ghost Ship rolling in as well. They've taken out the Void Spirit. Raven's going to get low. He's got the reincarnation to give him a second life here, but will Fnatic have the firepower to take this one? They've gone in with the Primal Split. Jabs trying to zone them out, and now with Raven following him up, they may have enough damage, but a great infest as they go into the Mirana. They need to finish her off to get the lifestealer, but looks like Zephyr's going to get back to safety, and with the Queen of Pain finishing off the backlines, suddenly it's a 5 versus 3. Cuckoo's got himself a banish into Torrent. They get the Brewmaster. They've gotten 3. Great execution there for that team fight for T1.
That was so nice. It's actually quite funny. I was talking about how, oh yeah, if T1 get the jump, like, they're just so strong with it. You know, they have the Orchid, they have these nice things, but actually, yeah, Whitemon is playing Shadow Demon. He's got disruption. You start on Fnatic and they just save whoever you go on. It's actually amazing. They cover the disruption so well as well. When it's ending and they want to take advantage of that from Fnatic's side, there's just a follow-up torrent into boat. Then you're past Rum. So even if you're able to kind of follow up the chase and keep going, now everyone is just twice as tanky from that buff.
Yeah.
And their execution
So nice.
from T1 was really good.
Yeah, we saw a bit of the end of the fight there. Just so well played. The lifestealer, you know, using the infest as well to get himself out, knowing that, okay, my rage is down. I might die here. This Wraith King's come in, but he just infests his way out of there. So, bit of a wake-up call for Fnatic. They've only got the 1 kill this game, and while they've farmed up well, they've yet to be able to take a really solid fight. And without items to deal with this Kunkka Orchid, they're going to have themselves a, a bit of a tough mid-game here, it feels like, until, their items come up. Their items are pretty far away. Like that Ags on Brewmaster, not really particularly close. Void Spirit, he's going to have a Sanj and Kaya, but he's still very vulnerable. Gets caught by the X. Yeah, this is the problem. The Orchid's there, the Ghost Ship follow-up, and Armel gets picked off.
Do you ever play with an Orchid and you just feel like everyone just kind of walks away from you when you use it? You just kind of like struggle to really take advantage of it. I feel like Cuckoo is playing a masterclass right now of this Orchid. He's just everywhere. He's mid, he's top, he's bottom, he's catching people, he's getting kills. Zephyr is playing so well with his cores. He's had a couple misses with the arrows, but overall he's been so solid in just being in the right places at the right time with the people that are the strongest.
Yep. Well, so far you mentioned this is a game that comes down to perhaps execution, and definitely T1 showing us that their execution on point so far. They've got themselves about a 2k gold lead as a result of it, but still a lot of fight left in Fnatic. They've not really gotten rolled over because of this. They've managed to keep it close in terms of the economic game. The Wraith King getting closer and closer to a Desolator, so when they've got that Blink Armlet Desa, Raven, his damage up in this fight, you can execute as well as you'd like, but this Wraith King is going to just hit like a truck at some point.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he went Blink first. I thought that their idea was... I mean, they need to hit a timing, right? And I feel like when you have Deso on Wraithing, that's when Roshan opens up for you. So that's when they could look at holding the top side of the map and trying to find a fight where they can take Rosh. But maybe he just feels like he can't do that yet. Because like we talked about, Brewmaster is pretty poor. He doesn't have Ags. He's still got another 1.5k gold to go before he gets it. Void Spirit also still susceptible to the Orchid like we talked about. So I guess their fights, especially after that one just there, it all just looks a little bit rough and hard for them to take it. So maybe they're not feeling comfortable about fighting for Rosh and they're just happier to go Blink. So it can be used defensively, right? If they show he can just blink away, get himself to safety, kite, try and farm.
Little smoke rotation from T1. They were, I think, looking for some bigger fish to fry, but they do catch out the poor Grimstroke, but And good news for Fnatic is that didn't catch a core, but there's still potential for Armel to get caught here in the mid lane. He gets disrupted. The follow-up could come in, but Raven's just blinked on the Shadow Demon, instantly deleting him. The arrow going to come flying through, but the Orchid on the Wraith King not going to do a whole lot except stop him from throwing out another stun, which is still on cooldown. And Fnatic maybe looking for another follow-up initiation. The Blink Wraith King coming up in a couple of seconds, and he's found the Mirana with Armel following it up, and they're going to catch Zephyr as well. So T1 getting in a bit too deep there and finding the wrong targets. Really well played by Armel in the trees there, not getting caught by the Disruption arrow combo.
That's really nice. Fnatic are playing their game plan really well right now. They tried to make an offensive move. It didn't go well. So what do you do instead? You just push out your waves, and then you punish. When T1 end up behind their tower and being a little bit too far up the lane, that's when your Wraith King has his blink and is able to just pick you off and say, hey, you've gone up too far, sir. Stand down.
Yep. Oh, and the
kills
big
without
item that's
blinking,
come
great.
out now, DJ has an Ag Scepter, so we kind of mentioned, like, you know, they don't have that save for the Orchid, but now they do with DJ's Weaver.
Dude, where did he get an Ag Scepter? Dude, Brew doesn't have
know.
an Ag Scepter. Oh my god.
This is DJ things. He was sitting top lane farming against the Kunkka for a long time. Like, he kind of got that, you know, the classic, the BSJ dead lane, where it's like, okay, no one wants to farm top. DJ's like, you know, I'll do it, and I'm DJ, so I don't die.
That's true. Yeah, it takes advantage as well of Lifestealer as a hero. Like a few minutes ago, I was watching DJ just Shikuchi past Lifestealer, like pop out of invis next to him and just say like, "Hey, buddy," and just like farm the wave. It's like, what are you gonna do? Stun me? Slow me? I'm Weaver. It doesn't matter. That's actually really nice. Makes sense then. He has so much money.
Oh, this you know, as much as T1 have been, you know, seemingly momentum favoring them and making all the right moves to win these fights and get most of these kills, Fnatic have quietly got themselves this Ag Scepter. They've got that Armlet Tesso and Wraith King, and they're ready to fight. They finished the Ag Scepter on Brewmaster as well. They jump in with Raven. They found the Shadow Demon. That's the big target they want to kill off first, but can they do this with the Infest to heal him up a little bit? They get the Soulbind as well, and the damage is just there to finish him off. Raven is going to lose his first life on the Wraith King. Shadow Demon even going to buy back to try and make sure this fight goes well from the Sonic Wave. A complete whiff from Carl. As both teams, I believe, going to look to disengage with the Shadow Demon buyback. It seems like Fnatic are happy just to respect T1's strength here and disengage for the time being.
I think they could just go again on Fnatic. Japs has his Ags. They have another split.
T1 smoking at them. Time lapse away. Shikuchi, nicely done by DJ. He does get dusted up, but he's out of catch range. Really good play from Fnatic not to get caught there. But Roshan, Fnatic, if they want to contest this, they need to get there soon. T1 are killing this one fast. Jabs does have a second primal split with the Aghanim Scepter, but it looks like they're just not responding to this one, or they just don't care. Yep. It's getting low. It looks like it should be too late. Another arrow going to come flying through, and Roshan will drop. Get scanned up, but Fnatic, will they still try and fight into the Aegis? Don't believe they're looking to do so. They're sending the Wraith King bottom, and seems like they're happy to just play it safe for now.
Yeah, I respected the idea of going back on Fnatic, because Raven doesn't have reincarnation, right? You don't really want to take another fight and throw, but you can't give up Roche either. And I don't know if they just didn't realize that T1 had gone in the pit or what it was, because it seemed like after a few seconds they were like, oh yeah, crap, the Roche, let's go smoke. But it's too late, because they had more cooldowns. They didn't have Grim ult, they didn't have Wraithing ult, but similarly T1 didn't have like Quap ult, they didn't have Boat. You can go, it's not like the worst fight for you, I think. And you have Weaver save onto your Wraith King. I just think they were stronger with that extra split, but it's okay. They're still fine. I think when you have Aegis on a team and you feel like you can't fight into it, you just split really hard and push waves as much as you can. Try and split up T1 and make sure they can't just group up and take objectives.
And that's worked really well for Fnatic so far. It seems like, you know, a situation where they could have contested Roche, but the game plan hasn't been to play aggressive. It's been to sit back, split push these lanes. That's what Weaver got this Ag Scepter from. Raven, you know, he's got the skeletons. He can always split push these lanes. So, you know, as much as it may be giving up an Aegis isn't the ideal scenario, they're by no means in a bad position because of it. Ooh, Armel gets sniped by the Torrent in the trees. He was TPing out. Will he survive his way through this one? Looks like with the double Astral Step, he's got another one if needed. He should be okay. Goes in the creep wave here, has the Dissimulate, and he's back to safety of his tier 2 tower. So he'll be okay. Very heads-up play from Cougar to catch him, but doesn't lead to a whole lot.
Yeah, like T1 are a little spread out right now. Even if White Mono had been in position there to catch Armel with Disruption, Mirana's mid with Call right now. And while this is all happening, they go Ravens pushing in bot.
Yeah. Well, here come Fnatic. They want to go on Gabby. He's got the Aegis, but they'll take out his first life with ease. And if they got a play to make for his second life, the backup is coming. It's a little bit far away, but Gabby's just going to get himself back to safety here. They've gone on a Brewmaster Illusion, so Fnatic take out the Aegis without having to commit any big cooldowns, and they'll defend their top tier 2 tower because of it, but they're now all they're committed up here, so they're looking for a fight.
That was Demonic Purge used. If I'm Fnatic right now and I feel like I'm strong, they should probably try and take a fight. They have 2 splits. There's no Demonic Purge. They still have like Boat and Scream, but that's fine. Like, I think you're stronger on Fnatic at this point.
No. And they're showing signs they want to. Yeah, they smoke up. Straight down the mid lane they go. Raven leading the charge. He's got a BKB up on his Wraith King now with level 18, so that 60-second cooldown reincarnation. We'll be more than happy to throw away lives to make these fights happen. And Gabby's going to be a little bit careful. He's very close to them, but they see the Quap. They're going for Carl, it seems, instead. On the high ground, Gabby has to rage himself out of there. He's going to be A-OK. Armel, no Aghanim Scepter, so no Insta-Silence or anything.
That's a shame. They don't have vision, so it's really hard playing like blindly there.
Send the Void Spirit top, and as a result, T1 use this to capitalize and get a support kill. Just poor Grimstroke lingering a little bit too long, but I think the game plan for Armel and Fnatic was, let's just fall back a bit, finish off this BKB. They're going to have double BKB soon, and that's going to put Fnatic in a pretty good position for these upcoming team fights.
It feels kind of sad when you play blindly like that because of the fact that like Lifestealer doesn't die unless you have vision of him. If you blink in blindly and you hesitate for even a second, he's gonna rage, and then your initiation's really botched. Yeah. It's easier for T1, right? Call's Quap has her shard. She blinks on someone, they're silenced. That's enough time to kind of start to set up the kill properly and kill them. She also has BKB, so she's pretty safe. Nice of them to turn that smoke gank around.
As far as turning things around, Fnatic are grouping a bit down near this bottom lane. Showing signs they want to take a fight, maybe even defend this tier 1 tower. They don't have Wraith King's TP for about 15 seconds, so he's going to have to walk his way down here. So they'll give up the tier 1, but they are in position to defend the tier 2. Gabby in the front lines. He's got a disruption behind him, and it looks like T1 catch wind of what's going on here. Maybe Zephyr going to be the one getting caught out on the Mirana. Goes for the TP out, but he's been caught by the Inkswell stun, and the Raven Wraith King able there to finish him off. Just the support kill, but nice find for Fnatic. Does feel like both teams just, happy for this game to slow down a little bit. It's still 0 gold difference, basically, between the two teams. And Lifestealer, not quite keeping up with the Wraith King, but I'm curious, Sheep, but when it comes to like this late game Lifestealer, it feels like we're seeing what the Wraith King, we've seen this Wraith King all the time. It jumps on a hero, does crazy physical damage. Lifestealer, not quite the same damage output, but what does Lifestealer bring to the table when we go to the late game here?
In this game, it's the sustain damage that they need against the Wraith King, the ability to just keep fighting throughout 2 lives. He's kind of a hero that's a little bit scary because you use rage and then, you're vulnerable. So if he does use it to burn through Wraith King's first life, then that kind of sucks. You're gonna be scared for your second life. So they should, as a team, be aiming to just kill everyone else and then kill Raven last. And I don't think Raven can fight very well into Lifestealer. Okay. Especially with these, like, he's so tanky, he's so hard to kill. The feast is like really nice against Wraith King. I don't know. He's got like decent armor as well as a hero, especially when he has armlet and such. So I feel like he's just a carry that can answer Wraith King in the late game, and he's you know, he doesn't really die to their spells. Like, they don't have
Yeah.
instant silences. They don't have instant stuns.
Yeah, outside of the Wraith King, they don't have a good way. Maybe the Ag Scepter on Void Spirit changes that, but we'll see. Raven here on the front lines gets banished up, but he's got backup right behind him. Armel jumps on the back lanes. He's looking for the White Mon Shadow Demon. Wants to take out the sports to start this fight, and he'll do just that. Armel could be in some trouble. He's been demonic purged here, and Gabby's lifesteal trying to finish him off. Armel gets out of there with the Astral Step, and they've also taken out one more. Raven's Wraith King doing a bit too much damage for them to handle here as the Ghost Ship going to come flying through. Mistimed on a DJ's Weaver, so he'll Shikuchi himself out of there. Another time lapse in 1 second, so he's got that extra bit of save there as Cuckoo goes for the BKB TP out. Nothing to cancel that. Same story for the Lifestealer with his TP out, so Fnatic win themselves another fight.
Can I just say, I watched Gabby during that whole fight only, pretty much, because I was like, yeah, let's see what they do. And I'm sitting here saying, man, yeah, they should just go on everyone that's not Wraith King and then kill Wraith King. And what do? They just start on Wraith King. They just start on Wraith King. He gets saved by Weaver, and then Lifesteal's like, well, okay then. He like runs somewhere else, tries to kill Armel. Armel then like jumps away. He's like, okay, fine. And he just can't kill anyone. I think he needs... Because they lack stuns, right? Like, really good stuns on T1. It's so awkward, and he doesn't have a bash or anything. He has no control of his own. I know some Lifestealers in the past would go, like, Bloodthorns to try and help those supports.
Carl pulled back in, and they actually gonna get this kill. He forces out a BKB and the Infest for some heal. Fnatic maybe just thinking they need to disengage here. The arrow going to go flying through, not catching anybody, but they forced out a Quap BKB. Fnatic disengage, and it was to go back to the last fight, like I was looking at the fight recap, Gabby did by far the most damage on his team. He did almost 4k damage while everyone else did like 500 to 1,000, but it's not damage that's leading to kills. Whereas you look at Armel, he does a lot of damage, but he's getting the backlines, he's getting the supports, and it feels like that's what T1 need to find a way to do, is to kill this Weaver and kill this Grimstroke.
Yeah, the Lifestealer doesn't really have a really great vehicle this game. You know, you think of Lifestealer, you think of putting him in a Spirit Breaker or something, or a melee initiator like Mars Sand King. They jump, they stun, he bursts out, you kill someone. That is just not something they really have this game. Kunkka is not playing like that. He's not a Blink initiator. The closest thing would be Quap. But you kind of put yourself in an awkward position if Quap and Lifestealer are blinking into someone. If Fnatic are able to turn that in any way, then two of your cores are out of position. It's awkward. Yep.
And now that, DJ has that Ags, you commit everything to blink in with an Infested Lifesteal. Like, the turnaround potential's there because of that Aghanim's time lapse. So, makes life a little bit harder, but that's something both teams now have. That insta-save with Disruption as well as time lapse. So, we'll see how both teams play around it. Fnatic have managed to get themselves a very slight edge when it comes to the gold separating the two teams, but realistically, this game is now going to become down to how these next few team fights go. And both of these teams eyeing off Roshan. Rosh number 2 has respawned, so that's Rosh with an Ag Shard. A lot of pings coming out, scouting with the Beetles. Both teams posturing around this Roshan.
Yeah, I love how Roshan dictates the game map. When they finished Gabby's last Aegis, the game just kind of swung to bot. We saw loads of like, oh yeah, we're gonna try and push bot tier 2. Yeah, we're all gonna rotate down there and take a fight. We're gonna push the lane and people playing bot, playing an enemy jungle. Roshan spawns? Top. Yep. Top. Look at all these wards. They have wards for days all over their own jungles, so they have perfect vision of the areas.
Armel forced a BKB in the mid lane, but they pulled in the Lifestealer. He's got a double damage, so Gabby wants to try to fight his way through this one, but he's kind of isolated here. He's being stunned up, dusted now as well, so they see him. Can they bring him down here? They're just throwing him up in the air with the Cyclone. Asking him to drop him, but the Remnant not going to land as he pops the Rage on landing. BKB from the Kunkka as well to keep him alive. Neither team taking any losses just yet, and it looks like full disengage from T1 as Fnatic unable to connect on any of those kills. Definitely a scary situation. No one's dying.
Sucks, gods. No one's dying, gods. It's not fair. I want blood.
It's like that level 1 5v5 was just like a precursor for how the entire game will go. Yeah, they'll 5v5 and no one will die. Fnatic say, okay, well, don't worry, we got you, Sheepo. We'll show you some kills. Gabby, oh my god, he's gonna lifesteal his way through. There's the boat, catches 3! T1 with a sick turnaround! The Kunkka from Cuckoo blows up Jabs, and he's looking for Armel next, whose BKB is still on cooldown. Does get himself back to the low ground, and instead it's gonna be Grimstroke taking a spill, and that should be able to set up T1 to secure themselves Roshan. What a turnaround coming out from Cuckoo's Kunkka.
Dude, what a voice line. Gabby just drops the Master is here. Hell yeah, Master Cuckoo is here.
Master Cuckoo is here to save the day, and T1 are here to take themselves Roshan plus get themselves a free Roshan shard. Looking around is DJ's Weaver, but I don't see any way he can do any of his, DJ plays that he likes to make around the pit. He's not on a Nurse Spring, he's not on Clockwork. He's on a Weaver, unfortunately, so no way to get in there and steal an Aegis or anything like that. So suddenly momentum swings back the way of T1 off of that one.
Yo, that was a hard push. Going into a triangle blind like that, it's a nice idea, but you don't see their supports. Like, I don't think Gabby even got saved. He just managed to get Rage off and lived. Whether that's a failure on Fnatic's part of stringing their disables together or what, I mean, obviously Cuckoo, heavy lifting, but yeah, it's rough if you can't burst.
Raven tried to blink in mid, but couldn't get the Inkswell Sun with his blink initiation. He's going to lose his first life here. Although, nope, he gets bailed up by the time lapse. Nicely done by DJ to catch him just at the last second to save his life there. He does have the reincarnation to play around, but Jab's in the front lines. His Primal Split Warriors are just getting shredded by Lifesteal. That's, one hero Lifesteal is pretty good against as well in the late game. Is this Brewmaster? He just doesn't care about these spirits.
I think Brew feels sad. In the triangle, I think a massive part of that fight going badly was that Jabs didn't get his split off. I'm actually not sure how that happened. I don't know if he was just being greedy or something and didn't want to pop it when they went on Lifestealer, but it definitely did not help their fight when he just got caught and died without it. Luckily, he has Refresher now, so if they do manage to take a good fight where he can use it, that's a lot of bears. I just would like to see him get something so that he doesn't die without being able to use it. Like, that's so bad. Eon Disc, BKB, whatever is needed. Maybe even a Blink. I don't know. That's kind of weird, but you can't have that lost fight happen.
Yeah, and if he gets his split off, it feels like, his warriors aren't killing anyone, but if he can just keep this Lifesteal Cyclone for an entire fight, much like the Wraith King, it feels like you just got to ignore this Lifestealer because he's getting a bit unkillable.
He is only built items that make him tank here. He's so tank, there's no doubt.
Cuckoo. They go in on the Kunkka, but gets bailed up by the disruption here. Raven in the front line doing some good damage here, but now Gabby and the Lifesteal's rocked up. Carl gets a nice Sonic Wave through them all, and that's going to bring down Armel. His Void Spirit goes down, and Fnatic just don't have the damage to get these kills, not against the disruption save, and they're going to lose more with the Grimstroke going down as well. DJ trying to get himself back to safety, finds a nice spot to TP out from. And it looks like they'll get themselves out of there for now. They've got buybacks if needed, but suddenly T1 are the ones on the front foot, and they may be looking to go high ground here. Jumping in, Carl doing what he can. He's got the Lincoln Sphere to play around. He's got to be a little bit careful here. An Inkswell stun could cause him some problems. Instead, it looks like T1 just going to focus the objectives. Gabby gets the tier 3 tower, and they just say, that's enough for now. Look for a reset. Look for another catches. T1, they're not fully backing off here. They are looking to keep the pressure on and maybe force this Void Spirit to buy back. Armel going to hold on to it for now. And they're going to go again. They're going to put Gabby on the high ground with that Solar Crest and Armlet, just doing what he can to bring down this melee Raxin. The pressure's now on. Jabs has those Primal Splits if he wants to use them. He popped the Refresher and everything. Doing some decent damage to Gabby's first life, but with the Aegis to play around, they're just going to get a full lane of Rax for free, and they're going to swing themselves top. They've still got a minute and a half, and Fnatic may just find themselves going down a second lane here unless they can buy time to take a fight with this Void Spirit respawn. They go in with the Raven Wraith King. He blinks in, but they don't have the damage for Gabby just yet. He's getting low. Can they do this one? He turns with the Rage. He's just life-stealing his way through this one, and they just take out the Wraith King. His first life goes down. They may be going to be able to kill him a second time. He can't get the BKB off, and they lose Wraith King. Raven's down. T1 going to go for the Rax now, it looks like, as Jab's on the front line with the Primal Split. Armel's respawned, but the disruption saves are there to bail out the Mirana for now. Leap out as well to keep him alive, and Armel just forced a BKB and watch his teammates die. Carl jumping into the backline. Januel, he's got absolutely nothing to get this Queen of Pain off of him, and Carl is going to clean up the backlines. He's godlike, and T1 are just crushing Fnatic in these team fights. They get that second lane of Rax, but more importantly, they force multiple buybacks, get some key kills, and find themselves GG. It's over, Sheepa.
I would also call GG if my Weaver failed to ult me twice on both lines.
Damn.
Oh no.
It's like, it's a Wraith King, he'll be fine. Oh, whoops, did I not push my ultimate?
Dude, he was just out of range. He like walks up to Wraith King and tries to ult him, and then like he dies, so he walks back to make sure he doesn't get gone on, and then walks forward to ult him again, and he dies before he can get back in range again. It was the saddest thing I've ever watched. I felt DJ's pain.
This is not the Weaver from like 3 years ago where the Aghanims time ups had like a 1k cast range. You gotta get nice and cozy to cast that one. So it was rough.
A little bit.
I mean, up until that last fight, this game was very close. So I mean, you mentioned execution is kind of the name of the game. T1 got that second Roshan. It felt like from there it was kind of smooth sailing for them.
Yeah, it was really execution. It was like them taking that fight on the high ground there was poor. I think Fnatic made quite a few mistakes, especially the first Roshan. I would criticize the most. I think T1 had expended their cooldowns and Fnatic didn't regroup and push that advantage well enough. I don't know. Maybe they just had a different idea. Like they felt they weren't strong enough, which is totally fair. Of course, I don't understand how pro players think. But yeah, it just felt like they were a little bit too slow on there, and they failed that smoke gank bot as well into the fog. All these little things, like all these moments where they would take over the game were just lost, and it's rough. It's hard for them.
Yep. Well, T1 perhaps just slightly outmaneuver Fnatic. They get that Roche control and they take game one, but it is a best of three. Fnatic will have a few things to think about, but we're going to come back and get ourselves ready for that game number 3. We'll bring Nat back in as well, but we'll have a quick break. So guys, stick around. You don't want to miss game 2 of Fnatic versus T1. We'll see you there.